I've been lucky that I haven't had to really audition for any gigs. I've never done the cattle call audition thing. When I graduated high school. 5 days later, I left Minnesota. End of May 1983, moved to Hollywood. I moved into an apartment. Me and my buddy and a couple of other friends got an apartment upstairs with the intention of going. Well, the thought that we sold to our parents is that we were going to go to Musicians Institute, go to school, right?
Right.
Because what parents would let your kids from the farm move to Hollywood, right? Unless there was an end game. We're going to go to school.
Yeah.
Right? Sure you are. Right?
Missionary trip.
Yeah. And MI was great, right? Yeah. MI was great because it was, it was in Hollywood.
Right.
The guys from Toto would drop in, the cool people would drop in, and technically it was a 1-year vocational degree, and then you're kind of spit out into Hollywood, and kind of teed up, ready to go. So to me, it was a logical game plan, and one my parents signed off on. So we move out there. Well, problem is we're 19, drinking age is 21. We needed to get some beer.
Right.
That's the long and the short of it, right?
Right.
So we started going, we got to meet some neighbors here, right? So we see this guy walking around. He's got long hair. He's walking around kind of barefoot around the apartment, and I'm like, oh, that guy looks cool. And so as it would go, we realize he lives upstairs. So we knock on his door and ask him to buy some cigarettes, and he slams the door in our face. And then, because they aren't as friendly in California like they are here in Alabama and up in Minnesota, right? I realized that right away.
There, I know.
These people are not nice out here in California.
Yeah.
So then we knock again and say, hey, you know where to buy any beer? And so he lets us in the apartment, and it's Dave Mustaine.
Oh, no
and
shit.
we didn't know who he was, and we didn't know who Metallica was, because this was all, hadn't reached the Midwest or probably Alabama yet, right?
Yeah,
right. So it was one of these, okay, you buy, I'll fly kind of thing, right? So we walked down to the corner liquor store, buy a box of Heinekens, and walk back to the apartment, spend the night drinking and shooting the shit and getting caught up. And, turns out, he was about 6 weeks after his departure out of Metallica, and he's starting to write songs for whatever his next chapter of life is going to be. And he was, looking for some musicians in the area, and he could tell it wasn't connecting really,
Yeah.
And so me and my friend Greg, we were ready to go. I mean, we showed up, stretch jeans, leather jackets, bullet belts, like, let's go play metal in Hollywood, right?
Yeah.
And now we meet the guy to do this, right? And you could tell Dave, not only was he a good persuader and a good salesman, but he could back it up, and he played us some of his songs. It was like, these are fucking great. Like, this is like, talk about next, They say, people with vision, they see something where everyone else sees nothing, right? So he could see around the corners and up ahead. And of course, he had his experience with Metallica. And I'd had my experience in the Midwest. So my friend Greg goes, dude, we got to play with that guy, and I said, yeah, no kidding. So he started playing with Dave first, and really, started doing the guitar work with him. And then he said, he goes, dude, you got to get Ellefson in here to play bass, man. He's the guy. So we sat down, we played, and Dave was convinced, and I knew my shit with gear and, like I said, PA equipment. Yeah. And, he knew that I, knew what I was talking about. And I was, I was maybe not as outspoken then as I am now. I've just learned how to talk a lot more now, But, and in the room, you let him talk. He was the guy. He was going to be the leader of the pack, right? And he made that very clear. So it was sort of like, just line up behind him and follow him, And I heard John Bon Jovi said the same thing. He said, just get in line. I'm leading the way. We're going to the top, and just follow along,
Yeah.
And so some bands have leaders, some are democratic. Ours had a leader, So that was the path that we did. And 40 years later, here we are, So for me, again, long answer to a short question, moving to Hollywood,
That's a big jump, though.
It is. And I mean, here's, I think, the lesson for it is, you go thinking, okay, plan A, well, we'll probably go to school. We'll see how this plans out at least. And really plan A was plan B, because plan A was what exactly happened. We're going out there to fucking play metal and start a band. And
don't even make a plan B.
Change the world. Yeah, that's that. The plan
A.
is, play metal, change the world, right? But your parents aren't going to buy that, right? You know what I mean? So, and I think that's it for me. I've never had a plan B. There's always only been a plan A.
There you go.
And I think that is the lesson, you know, is just go at it with everything. And that, and honestly, I'm just wired that way. I can't think of a plan B, you know?
The only plan B is when you get a girl pregnant. Hey!
Wah, wah. So I do that car off the cliff thing, Eric.
Yeah.